This video was produced by the UCD Maths Support Centre in conjunction with the UCD Access Centre. The next type of question we could be given when we're trying to find the general form of a circle is if we are given 2 points on the circle and a line containing the centre. So in our example here, we're asked to find the equation of the circle K, which passes through the points 1, 1 and 2, minus 1, and whose centre lies on the line 3 minus y equals 7. So our first step is to write down our general equation. And just like our last question, we're going to want to find 3 different equations so that I can find G, F, and C. So our first 2 equations, just like the last example, will be to take these 2 points, 1, 1 and 2, minus 1, and fill them into the equation here. So everywhere we see an x, we write a 1 in this case, or a 2 in this case. Everywhere we see a y, we'll write 1 because we have a 1 here, or a minus 1 because we have a minus 1 here. And doing that for the point 1, 1 gives us an equation 2g plus 2f plus c is equal to minus 2. So we'll label that equation 1. Fitting in our second point, we get equation 2 is 4g minus 2f plus c equals minus 5. And then the new thing in this example is we are told that the centre minus g minus f, because we know the centre for an equation that looks like this is minus g minus f. We're told that centre is on the line 3x minus y equals 7. So what that means is if we have x is minus g and y is minus f is a point on this line, we can substitute these 2 values in to get 3 times minus g minus times minus f is equal to 7, or in other words, minus 3g plus f is equal to 7, and we can label that as our equation 3. So now that we have our 3 equations, we can go down here, and if we collect them together, so we have our 3 equations here, equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3, just like in our last example, we're going to solve these equations simultaneously, but what needs to be noticed here is that our third equation, minus 3g plus f equals 7, contains no c. So there is actually no c term in this equation. So that actually makes our job a little bit easier, because if we can get rid of the c in these 2 equations up here, then we can combine that equation, once we do that, with our third equation, and we can solve then for g and f. So to get rid of the c from these 2 equations, I'm going to write them down again, but I'm going to change the sign all the way across equation 1. So instead of plus 2g, I have minus 2g, plus 2f changes to minus 2f, plus c changes to minus c, and minus 2 changes to a plus 2. Once we do that, if we look at our new equation 1 and equation 2, if we add them, the plus c and minus c cancel, leaving us with minus 2 plus 4 gives us 2g. Then, if we have minus 2f minus another 2f, then we'll have minus 4f, and then we have 2 minus 5 gives us minus 3. So now we have this equation here, let's call it equation A, and we see that it has just g and f in it, and we recall that our equation 3 only had g and f in it as well. So if we write it down here, we have our minus 3g plus f equals 7. And then what we can do, just clearing that away there, we have 2g minus 3g, and we have minus 4f and plus 2f. So the easiest way would be to get rid of our f by multiplying our second equation by 4. So when we do that, if we multiply our second equation by 4, our first equation stays the same. So 2g minus 4f equals minus 3. But multiplying each of these parts by 4, minus 3 times 4 is minus 12g, plus f times 4 is plus 4f, and 7 times 4 is 28. Then we can cancel our minus 4 and plus 4 by adding these equations, giving us minus 10g equals 25, or g is equal to minus 5 over 2. So this should be minus 5 over 2. So now we found out what our value for g is. We can take one of our equations, say what we called equation A. If we take our equation A and we take this value up here, we had 2g minus 4f equals minus 3. So I've rewritten that here. But now I'm going to substitute in my value for g as minus 5 over 2, so that should be a minus there. Minus 5 over 2 times 2, well, the 2's cancel, leaving us with a minus 5. We still have our minus 4f, and we have minus 3 on the other side of the equals. Rearranging this equation, we can find minus 4f is 2, so f is minus a half. So now we have the second part of the information we need. And next we just have to go and find our value for c. So from our last slide, we had g is equal to minus 5 over 2, and f is equal to minus 1 over 2. So if we look at one of our equations, say equation 1 here, then what we can do is we can take our value for g and put it in here where we have g. We take our value for f and put it in for f. Once we do that, we end up with this equation here. And when we simplify this equation, we end up finding that c is equal to 4. So we have g is minus 5 over 2, f is minus 1 over 2, and c is 4. So we fill these values into our general form here. So instead of g, we write minus 5 over 2. Instead of f, we write minus 1 over 2. And instead of c, we write 4. And when we simplify that equation by multiplying everything out, well, a 2 cancels with a minus 2 on the bottom, a 2 cancels with a 2 on the bottom, so we end up with the equation x squared plus y squared minus 5x minus 1y plus 4 equals 0. And that's the equation of the circle we're looking for.